hey, it's Joy, it's Friday, and you know, sometimes Friday feels like Monday. It's been a manic Monday already. So hello if you see me and all that good stuff. You guys probably just saw a little bit of my dirty room because my camera was pointing the wrong direction. I mean, you know, this is not bad for government work, right? Anyway, here we go. So, I can't believe I'm old enough to even say this, but I am a grandma. Oh my God, just say that makes me don't want to die. Anyway, Alex's first birthday party is on the 22nd, which is tomorrow, which is why we're going to make this card. So we are making a baby's first birthday card. So I want to talk about what I've done so far. I'm sorry that my head was in the camera. Anyhow, so I have used a piece of like Robin's Egg light blue cardstock, and I used just a scalloped dyed frame die from my stash, and then I used the blue and green plaid paper from Spring Plaid paper pack. I have really good news. That's going to be delivered today or tomorrow at the latest. So if you want the paper pack, Lisa, if you can hear me, can you put on there to sell anyway? That way people can purchase it. Anyway, so I put this fence on there. I've got a couple different fences in my stash, and I don't know which one this is going to be, but we will eventually pop that up like we always do and go from there. Hi, Tanya. How are you? Driving to London to deliver a washing machine to our daughter. Well, you're a nice mom doing that for your daughter. Very, very nice. I'm glad that you are able to help your daughter out, because that helps, you know. It's awesome when we get to that age that we can actually help our kiddos out, you know. And yeah, so let's get on with this. I'm just using this piece of brown paper so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So, the other thing that's going to be part of this card is this stitched cloud. I'm not sure who that's from. And I stamped Happy Birthday from the Forever 29 set, which, if you guys don't remember what that is, it is this one. It's not lined up very well, but it's got the cake and it's got the 2 presents and some sentiments on it. But I wanted that Happy Birthday. So that's how the card's going to come together. But I'm going to spend some time coloring. We're going to have a lot of brown on this card, so we're going to do this guy gray, but normally I do him with a cool gray. I'm going to do a warm gray this time. So I'm going to pull my markers. Alright, so a W5. Actually, I pulled a W531, and I pulled a W6 too, because I don't want to go like super dark. So I'm going to use this W6. And I'm taking both caps off because they're pretty well filled up at this point. Hey, I just wanted to say hi to Lisa and to Jana as well. And anybody else that's on here, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I was having some tech issues, so it took me a minute to get my computer rebooted. No matter how much I plan, you can never plan for tech issues. So we're just going to put some shadows on each side here of his face, and right over here where the ears are, because they're going to be like tucked behind his head, sort of, and a little bit on the side. Okay, and his front leg is going to be forward from the haunches, so I'm making sure that I give a nice little cast shadow from where the top of the feet kind of come up onto the, you know, like we're going to call it the thigh, the back leg. And I'm going to put that shadow real big on that outside. So that's the W5, and I need to do the same thing on this ear here. I need to bring it up just a hair. And we can go ahead and kind of outline this smile, and we can give his face a little bit of dimension because the artist drew that in. Now, if you guys didn't know, if you don't get my newsletter, I would love it if you would subscribe to my newsletter. So you would just go to PajamaCrafterStamps.com and scroll down like a third of the way down, and that's where you find the newsletter. But that's where you're going to find like information about restocks, what's on sale, any events that we might be going to, or anything. And the reason I'm telling you that today is we have this little guy, this and the bundle. So when I say bundle, it includes the stamp and die. They're both 25% off with code Woodland25, and that's if you put that code in, and it expires tomorrow evening at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So on Friday, it's gone. What else? Yeah, Police is right. It's all the news. All the news comes in the newsletter. I try not to spam you. I only put in like stocks, restock sales, and I usually send it out on Friday. And that's just so that you guys can stay in contact with me, but without, I don't like it when I get like 5 emails a week from a company. In fact, I usually unsubscribe when that happens, so I'm not going to do that to you unless there's like something like major going on. I'm on a Patreon group, and I get like messages sometimes like twice a day. It drives me nuts. In fact, I didn't unsubscribe, but I silenced the notifications on it. That's how much I understand that people don't want to receive all the things. Now, one thing that I did leave out was going to be this little cast shadow that would be where this, I don't know, it's not a beard, I don't know, the scruff of the neck, I guess. So I am going to go back in after the fact and put in that shadow when we're done, but we're not going to move back anymore. So this W3 would be like the mid-tone color, so it's fine to start like really kind of coming in with that. So anyway, back to my grandson's birthday. I can't believe he's going to be 1 year old. I can't believe my baby girl is old enough to have a baby of her own, to be honest with you. Like, you really know that I don't know. You know that it's kind of like a coming of age. Like when you become a grandma, it's like, whoa, like, is that real? And by God, it's real for me. And I just love him to pieces. Anyway, the other thing that's this conversation about him being 1 year old. Isn't it amazing how much time flies? And I've really been thinking lately about time, and time is really, it's cathartic. It brings out truth and light, and sometimes what I'm learning in my old age is that time is like the truth teller. So the things that we think that are really big deals in our life, like this minute, a lot of people like want to freak out about everything. I'm raising my hand, I'm waving, like, hello. But really, my husband always gauges if something is worth freaking out about is if you're going to worry about it or care about it in 6 months. But for me, I sometimes care about things a little bit longer than 6 months. But I've just had a lot of things that come to light lately where time is the like final truth teller. And when you figure out some of the truths, whether it's about yourself or about current events or people, it's just crazy. But it also is amazing to me. It's amazing to me, like, how much you grow up in a year or two. Like when I think about like Pajama Crafter, oh my gosh, you guys, we have grown leaps and bounds. People that didn't even know that we existed, like some of you that are on here, literally, like, I didn't know or have the opportunity to know. And I love what time does for people. So what you're seeing me here doing when I'm doing tip to tip, I'm using my W3 and my W1. Yes, I could totally get a W2 out, but I'm just trying to not have more. But so if you use your lightest marker and pick up the darker ink, then you can kind of get another shade kind of mixed in there. It's just a blendy thing. And so he is really kind of done. Let's make sure I get the right lid on the right marker. So I am going to use an R21. Excuse me about my voice. I'm going to use the R21 for his nose because I think it's just cute. Now I'm going to use an R11, which is usually what I use for cheeks and stuff for animals, even though I don't know, do they have that? And I think I forgot to mention, I use some of that W1 up in his ears because realistically an animal would have like multiple colors like you've seen, like the fur inside of their noses, or their ears, excuse me. I'm so messed up. Alright, and then let's use this W1, which is the highlight color, and let's just kind of stipple in some color, just so that white isn't like the harshest of white. But that is really easy and like a really good starting point for like if you're making a card, you're not sure what you want to do, or I always start out with the easiest image because it kind of builds my confidence. And we're going to do like another swipe with that R11 on his cheeks to rosy those up a little bit. So if somebody could drop me some comments, either if this is on the replay or right now on the live, do Fridays at 1 o'clock work for you, or are they just too early and you can't participate in it, or do you like the midday break? My idea of picking this time was that we could like eat lunch, gab a little bit, and then move on with our days, you know? So that's why I chose 1 o'clock. I do go live usually on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, and then they're always available on the replay. So that was our bunny. And now I'm going to work on this deer. So for the deer, I'm going to use, so I try to stay in the same color families to make it easier for you guys, especially if you don't have all the colors, or if you're brand new to markers. So that's why I haven't gotten real crazy with like all the blends. However, we could go like real nuts with some of the brown blends, which I'm thinking eventually we're going to start talking about how to mix, like some of the other brown families in. But this is the E39, and I'm mapping in my shadows. So his belly is kind of, or her belly, I don't know, kind of hanging over a little bit there on that leg. So I'm putting a nice shadow, and I'm going to round that out. And I'm going down the leg here. So now this one would not be very much in shadow, so I'm not going to put it on the inside of that leg, but over here where the chest is kind of up over that leg, we're going to make sure we do a nice cast shadow and all the way down. Okay? And then this here, the head is kind of over, and then you've got his scruff of his neck that hangs over as well. We're going to work on this ear, and we're going to kind of stick with the same colors. I went out of the lines, darn it. And I'm going to go here with the artist drew in like this little snouty snout thing, so I'm kind of giving him a little bit of a shadow there. There's going to be a shadow here where the ear is behind, and where that antler is kind of coming over. So I guess this is not a boy, this is a girl, because it's got antlers. I answered my own question. And then I am going to put right here a little bit of a shadow. Alright, so that was the E39. I'm going to move to the E37 and we're going to start to kind of color this in. So I'm using probably just a 4-color blend on this dark brown. So you kind of see I left, like, I'm starting to round out that eye a little bit. And we're just going to repeat these shadows. So I'm going to kind of color in this girth a little bit more because that would be kind of in shadow. And so is this leg. We're just going to keep going. So Lisa says that she likes the lunchtime hour. I feel like sometimes like the 6 p.m. On Tuesdays gets some people that can't be here during the day here. But I also feel like sometimes it's like right in the middle of the dinner time, and I don't know. Dinner's really important to my husband. We try to have dinner together, and thankfully we eat sort of late anyway. But you know, for the people in California on the east or on the west coast or even Central Time, I think it might be a little too early. I'm kind of spinning this around a little bit just so I don't. So if my marker tends to bleed, because it still has like a red base to it, it'll bleed into the marker, or into the image, excuse me. So that was our first midtone. Now we're going to go into an E35. And this is our main midtone. So what do I mean? Does anybody know what I mean by midtone? Midtone is the color that your eye sees the most of. So, and the reason you can see midtones and highlights is because you've got the really scary dark and you've got the really light highlight. I tend to color with 2 midtones most of the time. And I'm leaving a little bit of a bounce back there. So leaving that like where the line intersects, if I leave a little bit of brightness there, then it makes the light bounce back and it gives it dimension like it's a 3D object. If anybody's wondering what I'm doing right now. And we're going to make this stuff kind of start to connect. This whole like chest area, I'm going to go ahead and color with this E35. Going to go into the face. And I'm just closing in some of those areas. I'm going to go in all the way with that antler. And I'm really going to scrub over that like mark, like where those lines are, so that we can get rid of them. But the reason I went all the way with that midtone instead of leaving a highlight is because that antler would cause a shadow, so he would not actually have a highlight there. So I'm just closing this in. And I just added a little bit under the eye. Gonna add a little bit there, and we're gonna call that, no we're not, we're gonna put a little bit on that ear. You guys always eat together too, Jana. It's really important to my husband that we have dinner. When our kids were little, we always, you know, that was our only rule that we really had, is that everybody had to sit down to the table without the phones and without, we did have the TV on because my husband's a sucker for a good movie, but we always had to sit down around the table and we had to eat together. And you know, because it was the one time as a family we kind of regrouped, got to know what was going on with each other, checked in, you know, and it's just, you know, good practice, I guess. I mean, it's not for everybody, but it was for our family, and I'm sure it sounds like it is for you. Even though our kids are all grown and out of the house, my husband and I still sit at the table and eat. It's his one rule. Like, we have to sit down and eat. Even if we're having pizza, we sit down at the table and we eat. What do you guys think of that with this guy right here? I think that's super cute. All right. I shouldn't have put those W's away because we are going to use the W's. So W5, 3, and 1. Your daughter likes it a lot too. Lisa, to sit at the table. It's just a good time, like, just to touch base with your family and to let everybody know that you care and, you know, just make sure everybody's okay. And there's just so much that happens in our world. I mean, it's like, when I think about the way we watch, like, reels and shorts and stuff, I mean, we're like a 15-second response time in our lives, you know, which crazy. I remember, like, a short, long form video was all the rage, like even 2 years ago, and now it's like everybody's wants a reel. They want a reel for everything. They went in, they went out, you know. So I am putting a pretty big cast shadow under where that nose is, and then the artist drew some tick marks here. So we're going to embrace that, and then I'm going to bring some of this down under the eye. So you saw me do the tail, and I'm going to do like one little flick on the tail. Because he's a white, this is so funny, my husband and I just had this conversation with my best friend, that is it a white tail or is it a mule tail? Because she lives out in Arizona, and she doesn't, I don't think they have white tail. I have no idea, I don't really care. It's a deer. I like to see them alive, I don't like to eat them. I don't know why I had to share that little bit, but my dad used to deer hunt when I was a kid, and oh god, it just used to make me cringe when he'd go deer hunting. So this is the W3, and I'm just adding a little bit more texture. Gonna go under the nose and on the snout just to give it a little bit of shadow. So we're leaving that mainly white. Do you see how I'm kind of blending it, you know? And I'm going to do just a little bit into the ear. And I'm going to use this entire W3, and I'm just going to color in the hoofs. It's a white-tailed deer, thank you. Isn't there a mule deer in Arizona, though? And if there's not, don't tell Sean, because he thinks that there is. This is the W1, just feathering some of that out. And I'm going to do just a little bit around this eye and that W1. Just so it's not so harsh. Okay? And then, oh, you know, let's go ahead and do the antlers. This is W3. Same thing, I'm going to kind of blend that with the W1. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my E51. It's a good fleshy color. So what it's going to do is it's going to pop. The most amount of deer in Arizona is the mule deer. Thank you for Mrs. McGoogle. Lisa is the keeper of joy. I don't know if you guys saw that. Oh, if you haven't had the chance, she redid some of the stuff for the creative team on the website, and it looks fantastic. And she's done a really good job with their website in general, and I always just want to do a little yell out whenever stuff like that happens. All right, so I want to do, I know deer don't have blue eyes, but in my world, my Alex has blue eyes, so he's getting blue eyes. So we're going to do, we're going to do 3 colors. We're going to do a B14. I don't know why I'm choosing that color, just so you guys know, the B14. Even though the artist kind of like kept this as black, like it's just so you just see the pupil, I'm still coloring over it. So this is the B14, the lightest color. Thank God I'm not an artist. I wouldn't know how to do any of this stuff. So then at the top third of the eye, I'm using B18. Okay. So it makes him look like he's got like eyeliner on or, you know, makeup or something. And then this is B16. And I'm kind of like blending that down just a hair. And then I'm going to go over that bottom part with the B14 again. That way the eye pops and it has some dimension. So, I'm sorry that my head is getting in the way, you guys. When you're old and you have bad eyesight, sometimes you have to hover, you know what I mean? So, let's get out our Sharpie. I'm using my white Sharpie. And, oh, I need my I'm going back to my R11. Where's my R11? I thought I put him away, but he's not over there. So we're going to use the R21, it's fine. And I'm going to give him some cheeks. Not that he would have a lot of cheeks, but we're going to rosy him up just a hair. And then I'm giving him a pink nose because, well, it's my deer, not yours. And it's not real life. This is a baby card. And so I'm using that R21. Leaving some spots. Now I'm coming in with the Sharpie. So wherever I kind of like lost, like if I, you know, colored over the dots, I'm just very lightly tapping in the white spots. Now with the Sharpie pen, you really have to let your ink of your marker dry before you go over it. However, once your Sharpie dries, you can tap over it again and you can make it like really vibrant. So that's true with any gel pen or acrylic pen, because these are basically acrylic pens, but they have a really nice brush nib on it. So now back here where the like shine of the pupil is, I'm putting that in, and then I'm putting one down there. And then you're only going to see one on this one because he's turning his head. And right here, I'm going to kind of go like that. And like that, so it looks like light. So there's like three little whatevers. Alright, so that's the deer. And if you want to, we could like getting some dots there and on his belly, because you know they would probably have spots. But that's the deer. Now I'm looking up on the screen and it looks like there's a pretty good line here. So I'm using my E35. And I'm just kind of going to diffuse that line a little bit. Now over here I want that line because I want it to look like that fur is causing a shadow. Now this is my E35 or 33. So just because you've colored it doesn't mean you can go back. You can't go back over it. Now the only thing you can't go back over is you cannot go back over the gel pen or Sharpie. So you've got to leave it alone once you any place that you put a Sharpie. All right. So I am going to do the fox. Just I don't know that he's going to actually make it onto the card, but I want to color him. He makes me happy, and I just want to do it. So let me put these back. You technically, for a fox, could use the exact same colors that we used, and we might bring some of them back, but I just want to show you different combinations if you're willing to sit and watch with me. And if you're not, I'm sorry. I am going to go ahead and color his eyes blue because my Alex has blue eyes. So at the bottom, I'm using the 14. Okay. Yeah, and then I'm going to skip right to the B19, and I'm just going to go like right where the bottom of that eye is. Like I'm barely moving. And we're going to leave that alone. We're not going to try to put 3 colors in because I'm not into that kind of, I'm not into doing that kind of work today. I mean, I'd have to have my glasses like 10 times stronger, and ugh, I won't do that. So let's see what I want to do here. Alright, so for him, I am going to start with an E29, so it's my darkest color. My dog is starting to get up and show his little face, so hopefully he laid back down. I was going to say, hopefully he doesn't start barking and wants to go outside. So I used E29. It's a burnt umber, which means that it has a little bit of red in it, but it's still dark enough to be like a brown, okay? Alright. So let's follow his tail. We're going to have kind of curve going that way. I'm kind of building in and following what the artist drew. So I'm trying to make all of the hair kind of go kind of the same direction and part where she wanted it to go. Which, to be very truthful, you've got this top part of the tail, and then you've got this part that goes the opposite direction, so you almost need like a part, like if you had like a cowlick. So I'm kind of making that split. See how I'm doing that? It's not perfect. It's very hard to do things perfectly when you're on camera and you've got to like worry about your head, you've got to worry about comments, you've got to do all those things. And then this right here is still part of his body and it's in shadow, so I'm doing the E29. So now we still have the same thing with this scruff. We could either do that gray or we can do that red. I'm going to do it this bottom half red, or I'm sorry, gray, and this top part in the reddish brown color. Okay, so up over this way, up around the ear. I'm gonna do the same little curly curls here, kind of think of Superman, and I'm moving my paper so that my wrist is comfortable. And we're going to do this up here, kind of like that. So it kind of looks like a hot hair, always looks hot, or hair or fur always looks like a hot mess before it doesn't. I mean, like a hot mess. And mine, trust me, mine's going to look like a hot mess. And when we're off the camera, I might end up adding more texture. So now I'm going to put in that cast shadow again. And this is E18. So we went from like an E29 to an E18. And so it's much brighter than the 29. And again, it looks bad until it doesn't. And it might even look bad it does. Who knows? We'll see. Okay. And we're going to fill in this side. I have a friend of mine that can do like the finest strokes of hair, and it literally looks like feathers, and I wish I could. Well, I shouldn't say I wish I could. I probably could do that, but I can't do it when I'm on camera. I'm not that great. On camera. God knows, like, sometimes I have a hard time even figuring out how to turn the camera on, right? So now we're going to go in with the E15. And this leg down here, which is completely in shadow, I'm just going to color all the way in with my mid-tone. Okay. Doing the parts that are easy to do. So we're going to start going up this way. And I should have used some of those darker colors here. And I forgot. So I'm going to grab that E18 and I'm going to go real dark right here over the snout. Okay. Back, I'm still in this E15 here. So I start to really start closing stuff in. Then I'm going to use this E33. To kind of brown this guy up a little bit. Very close in color though. And some of that texture that I put in, I'm kind of like trying to mute out around the eye so it doesn't look so garish. And you definitely could leave a white highlight if you wanted, but I'm just coloring those in. So this looks really to me. So I'm going to use that E15 since it's not my darkest color, and I'm going to kind of fan some of the stuff out. It's always easier to add color than it is to take it away. Forgot to do his little feet. There we go. And then we're going to get those W's out again. W53 or 3531. Alright. I am going to grab my colorless blender so I can move this mistake. So the thing about colorless blender, it really is not a blender. It bleaches. It like moves your ink. So I'm going to kind of push it to where I want that spot to go. And then I'm going to let it dry for a second. I put my finger on it because my finger is actually warm so it'll help that alcohol dry faster. And I'm moving this so that if there's any ink that kind of pushes down through the paper, then I'm not going to pick it back up. That's why I was moving that so much. Alright, so we've got this W5. I'm taking both halves off. Artist put some lines here. Put shadow under the nose. And I'm kind of doing the same thing that I did before. Okay, and I'm thinking his mouth probably would like have a little bit of a shadow, a little bit of a dimple there. So I'm just building that in. And oh, I forgot the tail. Shoot, it's probably because I want to do the tail. So just kind of made them all stripy. Gonna come in with that W3, gonna do the exact same thing, and again, it looks really bad until it doesn't. I need to practice hair. It's been a minute. It's been a lot of minutes. And since I kind of gave him that delineation there, I'm going to kind of make some of those go down too. Okay? Gonna follow my strokes. So there, we've got that so far. And then I'm going to use the W1 to soften it. Just rotating it around. Up here with this furrows, I'm just going to make that gray. I'm going to come in with that W3 because I went kind of thick with that W5. So I just want to break that up a little bit. There we go. I'd really like to know where that R11 went, but we're going to use an R12 because I don't feel like he would have like a rosy ear at all. And I'm going to give him some cheeks. I'm going kind of up by the eye, and I don't know why we would think that you could actually see him blushing, but in my world he is. And then I think we're gonna give him a really dark nose because I think it would be cute. So let's go with a W6 since it's on my desk. Sorry, I keep sniffling. I feel like I've got maybe some of Lisa's cold going on, even though she's way up north compared to me, so we're not anywhere near each other. So I am going to make sure that I put that dot in for the eye. Actually 2. And a stripe. Like that. And then try to decide where I want it. So sometimes if you have spots that you don't love, like I needed to break up that hair, so I just gave him like a little star in his eye. I'm going to go back over this again with my Sharpie in the eye to really make it that bright. Because this is a magical fox, you guys. This is my card. Okay. See how that kind of breaks things up a little bit? And we can give him like a little highlight there and a little highlight there. And we're going to call that done. These are very cute little critters. I think the artist did a fantastic job with this. So sorry about my arm, I'm reaching. Gonna grab all the things. Alright. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up. So this is the front of the spring plaid paper, which is going to be back in stock either this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon. It's on its way here. And then that's the other side. So really pretty. I don't know why this thing keeps moving on me. Anyway. It's a really pretty spring paper. Okay, there we go. And we're going to peel this off. We're going to peel it off the bottom. I lied. Just the bottom. Just the bottom. Because we're going to be extra. If I could, yep, we are. We're going to be extra. I don't know why. I've been channeling my design team's Judy, our design team coordinator. She really has a thing for twine, and lately I have been digging it. So I've been channeling the inner Judy. She's Joy in a Jar on Instagram and on her blog if you want to follow her. She's pretty darn amazing. She's a great human being, friend, and design team coordinator. So there's that. So go follow Joy in a Jar. Alright, so since that's got double, since it's adhesive on both sides, it holds the string, but you know me, I can't. I need some wiggle room. I need some time, wiggle room time. So I always put the Barely Art Glue. Now, if you're one of these people that can eyeball things straight the first time and don't need to wiggle, then you could like skip this glue step. But for me, it's just one of those things that I need to do. Alright, so I'm going to kind of put this flush with that stitch line. And I'm going to lay that down. Now that stitch line is why I was able to get that on so straight. So this guy I'm going to put here for sure. So we are going to pop him up with foam tape because I can't stop myself. You guys should know that by now. I can't stop it. Some people it gives the heebie-jeebies too, but it's my jam. I really should carry gum tape in my store. Now, as I say, I should carry this in my store. I can already see Lisa Googling the thing so that she can tell me which one to carry. And that's fine. I already know which one I want, so I did the research years ago which one I like. But she always surprises me with what she finds, so if she wants to look, my goodness, she can look. Isn't it weird how we all have our things? All of us have our thing that we love. So I am like legit trying. I've like cut this down so skinny. You can buy already cut strips, and honestly, that would probably have been smarter. But I mean, we all have the things that we're willing to spend our money on, and I would just prefer to cut my tape than to buy more sizes, you know. But with that comes, you have to peel all the things. So now if I make a light up card, I'm friends with Amanda from Pear Blossom Press. If I make a light up card, which would have been really cool to do for my grandson, then I would have used her tape because it's repositionable for up to 30 minutes. And it's double thickness, so it's really great for shakers or light up cards. But so I have two brands that I really like. And I'm going to put that there. I know one thing that I did not do, which I need to do, is we have this thing that we need to put on that card, and I should have already done that before I popped it up. So I need to cut off just a hair on each side. So I've got my 10 volts trimmer. And so for this side, I'm cutting off 1/4 of an inch. And then on this side, I'm going to cut off 1/4 of an inch. So it's going to measure 3 3/4 inches. Now I don't think I'm going to pop this one up though. So it would have been easier to cut this while it was like before I had double-sided adhesive on it. So sometimes do as I say, not as I do, and the reason I'm picking it up is I want to make sure it's flush. And then I'm just going to very lightly push that down. And then do I want him over the fence or under the fence? I feel like I want him behind the fence. Now it would have been cool. It would be cool to put him on a wobbler. I don't know if you guys know that we've got wobblers in the store. So, God, this is killing me. Do I want? Yeah, that's what I want. I'm going to sneak a little bit of glue on that fence post, and I'm going to push it down so it really makes it look like he's behind there. And I purposely stamped this so that it would be like wonky, like the happy birthday. So stinking cute. Okay, so let's see. We're going to see what kind of gems I want. Do I have gems on my desk? I had gems. So we could do, let's just see what this looks like. This is our new gem mix. I don't want this. I lied. I want a green, I think I want green gems. I have no idea who these are from, you guys. So please don't ask me because I really don't know. I love them and I wish I knew because I want you guys to be able to have all the things that I love. But a long time, you know, for years I had all this stuff labeled and did all that stuff, and I mean, but you can only keep your craft room. I'm not an influencer, you guys, so I'm not in the business of keeping track of all the names. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Those days are over, and I'm just making cards because I love what I do. So these are like a peridot color, which is kind of funny because Lisa and I were talking about peridot gemstones last night. So there's that. Maybe that's why peridot was on my brain. It's because she and I were just talking about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7, and you know what's coming out next, right? What about the sour apple gems? I think they're too lime, like lime green. I don't know, maybe. And if they had been in the craft room, I would have tried it out. But you know, a little red heart's coming because it's for my baby. Well, that one's too big. Too big. Okay, it looks like okay, well, I think this is the same size, but I don't want them with that little tiny one either. What do you think? What do you guys think? Isn't it sweet? Lisa's looking at her sour apple ones from the store, and she says that they're a little too in-your-face bright for this this muted one. So this is the birthday card for my grandson, and just the biggest decision I have to make is, do I want to put this box in there? Yeah, I do. Okay, all right, you guys, so hold please. All right, so we're going to take this leftover piece and we're going to make a little strip out of it. I don't know, 1 1/4 inch, I don't know. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. And it's crooked. That portion's not good. Let's go ahead and paste that on the bottom so we can make the inside look like it's finished. I don't know, does anybody else finish the inside of their cards, or do they leave them blank? 9 times out of 10, I leave mine absolutely blank because they are going up on a display in my booth and they're behind plastic, so nobody gets to see the insides. Okay, so that's there. And this is going to go down flat because it's on the inside of the card. Now, you know I want to pop it up. I want to pop it up so bad I can't, I'm like having a heart attack here. What do you think of that? I think it's adorable. Adorable. It's hanging over the side, but it's adorable. There we go. No longer hanging over the side, and this little gem kind of moved. Thank God I have glue. and I can wiggle, wiggle, wiggle it. But that's it. I just think he's adorable. And I think the blue eyes. And then our little fox. Yay! Add a liner. I don't want to, yes, you do add a liner. Okay. So, yeah, I think if I was sending this to somebody, it would actually have a liner, but I think just having, this, little end, and it's just something to ground the fox, and it's just super cute, and then, I'll write Alex a little note, which will mean that I write his parents a note because he won't be around, but hopefully, knowing my daughter, she will save these, and he'll be like 30, and he'll still have this in a scrapbook or something, so, in fact, that's how I got into crafting to begin with, was that I was doing scrapbooks for the kiddos. Look at me. I told you that you could wait until the Sharpie dried, and then you could add dots on top of the Sharpie, and look how much more vibrant that is. And does this guy need something? I don't know. Okay, I'm done. Okay. All right, so I am out of here because I have work to do. I mean, this maybe counts as work, but I'm so lucky, you guys. I get to do what I love every day, as far as making cards and that kind of stuff. I'm so incredibly blessed. I'm so incredibly blessed to have you guys in my community. This set is 25% off for today and tomorrow with code Woodland. It's all capital letters, Woodland 25. And you put that in at checkout. I think we have 2 stamp and die bundles left, and when they're gone, they're gone, and then we've got some stamps left. So, get them while you can. Thank you so much for celebrating my grandson's first birthday with me, and I will see you Tuesday night. Bye. Love you guys.